Good morning. Welcome to Killer Chari Torah's daily review of Maimonides' 613 Mitzvot, Sefer HaMitzvahs for Monday, July 26th. We're still talking about agricultural laws and laws specifically to do with the land of Israel, which to a greater or lesser extent are observed and practiced as fully as they can be in our times, in the time of a return of Jewish sovereignty to Israel. Even though the temple has not yet been rebuilt, we are doing our best. Positive mitzvah number 136 is to sanctify the Yovel, which you can translate pretty easily into English as the Jubilee year. The actual notion of a Jubilee comes from the Hebrew term Yovel, which we're going to have again coming up in a few weeks in Chumash Dvarim. No, we had it a couple weeks ago, sorry, in chapter 25 of Leviticus, to proclaim liberty throughout the land and to all the inhabitants thereof. That's a familiar phrase to those of us who ever visited Philadelphia and seen the Liberty Bell. That verse for that pasuk from the Torah, in English, of course, is inscribed on the Liberty Bell. So to sanctify the Jubilee year, to proclaim the Yovel, is a sort of a Shemitah of Shemitahs. There's a 7-year cycle of sabbatical years, and after the completion of every 7 cycles of 7, there is a Jubilee year with a number of mitzvot of which are similar to the Shemitah years, with cancellation of debts, freeing of slaves, indentured servants, and so on, and also returning the land to original ownership, which we'll talk about coming up, so stay tuned for that. It is a mitzvah, it's a separate mitzvah, part of related to the Jubilee year, but a separate mitzvah on its own, to sound the shofar on the 10th day of Tishrei, which we usually refer to as Yom Kippur, in the Jubilee year. So we remember that a little bit at the end of Yom Kippur, at the conclusion of the Ne'ilah service. We also blow the shofar. Now we should note that even though, wait one second, we'll go out of order here a little bit, that it is a mitzvah to count, positive mitzvah 140, I'm jumping ahead just a little bit, is to count the years to the Yovel, counting the years of the Jubilee. Somehow or other, Jewish people have lost track of this mitzvah. A lot of conversation about exactly how this state of being came to be. We do track the Shemitah years, as we said yesterday. The next one is coming up this Rosh Hashanah. 5,782 is a Shemitah year, but the Jubilee years we have lost track of, to our sorrow. Hopefully that'll be rectified. We'll figure everything else out once we all get home. Let's just touch briefly on 2 more mitzvahs here. Reversion of the land in a Jubilee year. This mitzvah teaches us that all purchased lands should revert to their original owners in the Jubilee year and are to be surrendered by the buyers without compensation. So you find this in, again, chapter 25 of Leviticus, where it's talking about the Shemitah and the Yovel, about the sabbatical and the Jubilee years. That shows us certainly that our tendency, what's the word I'm looking for, that our ownership over the land is of a fleeting nature, temporary nature. And even once you purchase it outright and all that, nevertheless it returns to its original owner every 50 years. Mitzvah adjacent to that, positive mitzvah 139, redemption of property in a walled city. This injunction teaches us to redeem possessions sold in a walled city, to hold good for a full year, that after the year they become the permanent possession of the buyer and do not revert to the seller in the Jubilee. This is the law of the houses in a walled cities. Its provisions are explained in Tractate Erechin, which we referred to last week, the tractate that deals with valuations and so on, and is binding only in the in the land of Israel. Okay, let's see. A couple more that we'll come to tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow. In the meantime, have a pleasant Monday.